Hi everyone, my name is Laura and welcome to Book Bubbler. Thank you for being here. Today I have what I hope will be a fairly quick video. It's just a first quarter check-in. This is the fourth time I have tried. I'm keeping it, I don't care. So I did little stats this morning. I checked my Goodreads, checked my library and stuff, and I have used some stickers, because I'm an adult. Want to just go over where I'm at the end of the first quarter here and see what I have to do to make my goals for the year. Now, I don't remember exactly what my goals for the year are. It's in a separate notebook. Why wouldn't just put it in my bookish notebook? I don't know. I mean, that would make sense. So why would I do that? And I didn't do any of my 2020 quarter goals or check-ins or anything in here either. I don't know. I don't know where my brain is a lot of the time, let's say that. So I'm glad I started doing it finally in my bookish bullet journal. So here we go. In the first quarter, I read 50 books, which is pretty good considering that most of February was really a blur. I don't remember it really. I don't know where my brain was. I know I was having a hard time concentrating. That was the month where I stopped updating regularly here and I just sort of fell off the edge a little bit. So that's with that sort of whole blur and then trying to catch up just a little bit the last half of March. So that's not too bad. I'll take it. Okay, of the 50 books that I have read, 31 of them I owned and 19 were from the library. So 60-40 split. That's fine. I wish it was like 80-20, 90-10. That would be even better. But that's okay. At least 60% were from my shelves. And as long as I don't go below 50, I won't really be mad at myself. So that's good. Okay, so for formats of all of the books that I read, and I'm counting my owned and library together for these totals in this next chunk. So 23 of them were hardcover, so just about a quarter were hardcover. 12 were trade paperback, 8 were mass market, 6 were ebooks or on Kindle, and 1 was an audiobook. For my Kindle books, if I own a physical copy or I did a double read of like a physical copy and the ebook, I always counted for the physical copy because that's the one that's coming off of my shelves or that's the one that I checked out and is taking up actual space. The stuff on my Kindle doesn't really matter. So I did read from more than 6 Kindle books for sure. But again, I count the physical stuff because that's the one that I then move on afterwards. I will say too, for Kindle, so my Kindle is about 6.5, 7 years old. Haven't had a problem, knock on wood. It's been great. Despite my dropping it several nights a week on the floor, it's doing great. But I did get to a point finally where it said I was running out of memory on my device. And at that point I had 71 pages or whatever in my library on my Kindle, like actually downloaded on my device. I don't know how many books that is. What is it, like maybe 8 on a page? Numbers are not my friend. So 71, 8, 50, so 500 to 600 books. Give myself a generous curve here of 100. So fine. That's fine. I'm fine with that. A lot of them were, I think too, a lot of people were getting really into self-publishing and stuff. Like 7 years ago when I got my Kindle, it seemed to be a much bigger thing, getting free books, getting books for $1, whatever. So when I got that notice on my Kindle, I spent probably 45 minutes or something laying in bed, deleting stuff from my library. And some stuff was like those freebie $1 whatever books. Some stuff is stuff that I've already read and just took off my device. But a lot of stuff I just ended up keeping. So I probably took 5 pages of stuff off, which isn't a ton, but it's something that I need to get back to doing. I remember where I left off, like page numbers in my Kindle. I'm on page 63. currently on page 63, I should say. So I'm going to go spend some time and go through that stuff. A lot of stuff I need to see the cover. I just do. And even then, sometimes it's like, what is this book again? Or like a lot of those books too. I'm just rambling now to see this. It should be quick, and it's not quick because it's me talking. A lot of those books that I deleted were like number 9 in a series or number 6 in a series, and I have no other books in the series. I just got it because it sounded interesting and it was free or $1. So those all left. And that was a really, really good thing on my part. I think that I was like, you know what, let's be realistic about this. Are you really going to go back, you know, all the way to pretty much the beginning of owning this device and look at this thing and go, oh, it's book number 7. Let me go get book number 1 and then read 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 before I get to the one I own. I'm not going to do that. And because I am the way that I am, I can't read stuff out of order if I know it's in a series. If I don't know what's in a series and I accidentally read something out of order, I will fix it immediately. Like, it will preempt all other bookish thoughts in my brain until I read those books. Like, it's just how I am. So those were gone. That's really easy. Some of the books that I did keep on my Kindle that I have already read are my Agatha Christie's, especially if they're not part of the Poirot series, because that is completed for me, except for the final book, which I will read a physical copy of. So all of the Poirots are not there anymore. All of the Tommy and Tuppence mystery series are no longer on my Kindle, again, because I have read them all. I've read that whole series. So I kept some of the standalones that I have, and I have 2 Miss Marples that are like in the middle of her series. And I am just starting now to read the Miss Marple series physically. So those I kept on there. And if any of you are reading the, oh gosh, what's it called? The St. Mary's Stories by Jodie Thomas. I love the series so much. They are so fun. And for the longest time, they were only published as an ebook. So it's an awesome series. It's time travel, time jumping, I would say, more than time traveling. It's a bunch of historians and librarians and geeks researching certain time periods to go back. They're supposed to go back in time and observe historical events to correct the record, to learn more about what was happening, blah. But every single time something goes to hell and they get stuck, or they end up accidentally killing somebody, or whatever, like crazy stuff happens. So, or they get stuck back in wherever they are in the, in Earth's history. So, those are so fun and so great. So I love that series. The problem is, and it's not a bad problem, but the problem is there are, I think, 12 or 13 novels in the series. And then there are a whole heap of, like, in between the books numbers, short stories. I'm going to guess there are 20 some or 30 some in the series. I own some of them. And when it was just, like 1 or 2 in between books, I think I'm on book 9, 8 or 9 for where I'm reading in the series. So I would just get the in-between ones. I was reading them in order and keeping track, and it was great. But all of a sudden, she started releasing a whole bunch of in-between books, and they were not just in between the books she was currently publishing, like say 12 and 13. It was like 12.1 and 2 and 3 or whatever. It was like, oh, here's one from 4.2 or whatever. So they started jumping around, and at that point, I just lost track. So I have all of the St. Mary's series, read or unread, on my Kindle, because the only way to keep a modicum of track of where I am in that series is to be able to look at it and going, oh, wait, what is this one? And look it up on Goodreads and see, oh, what in between number is this? Okay, no, I can't read this one yet. So let me back up. Do I have the one that I need to read next? Like bookish problems, like math problems, like story problems. It's bookish problems. So anyways, those are 2 longer chunks of series that I have kept, St. Mary's and then Miss Marple. Otherwise, everything on there is pretty much unread. Sort of nice to know that I have all this stuff to choose from, but I think I feel better about it too once I finish going through my Kindle and taking all of the freebies essentially out of there, or, the stuff I'm just not going to read anymore. Like, I was really a lot more into YA at that point in time, and I'm not so much into YA now. I still read it, and I still enjoy it. It's fine, but it's not what I'm drawn to. So like those can come off, that kind of thing. Anyways, oh my gosh. And for audio, I'm terrible at audiobooks. My commute to work is anywhere between 5 and 15 minutes, so that's not really time to listen to anything. I listen to the radio or, you know, Sirius, whatever. And I don't go anywhere. I mean, my office job is listening to new age stuff and it's quiet or it's just silence. So like, I don't listen to audiobooks so much anymore. And even when I'm home and I'm doing housework and cleaning and stuff, I've got music on that's more motivating for me than listening to, say, a 38-hour audiobook about the symphonies of Beethoven, which I am still listening to, by the way, but I'm not like, oh, let's get back to this. It's more like, no, I need some like 90s R&B to help me scrub the kitchen floor, you know, that kind of thing. I do have several hundred unlistened to audiobooks through Audible. So I don't try Libro.fm. I don't try any other free apps or anything for audiobooks. I just am trying to get through the ones I have already paid for. It's going to take me a long time at this rate especially. So, blah, blah. Okay, those are my stats then. So for the year, my goal for the year was to read 150 books, and I'm at 50. So I am 1/3 of the way through my yearly goal at 1/4 of the year past. I like those odds. I like my numbers. Hopefully I can keep the current reading mojo I'm in, keep it up, and get some stuff finished and moving on and everything. Like I said in my last Friday Reads video, what I really want to do this month in April is finish up sincerely all of the currently reads half-read books. I was chatting with some ladies on Voxer in a group yesterday, and Emily at Novel Novels said that she is reading 9 books at the same time. And I thought, oh yeah, I knew she read a lot at one time, but I didn't really know like actual numbers. So I'm like, oh, let me just look and see. So I just turned around and counted between the stuff behind me and the stuff on my coffee table. I had 19 books that I had bookmarks in. So I was like, oh, I have 19. So I understand, it's okay. So I'd like to get through all of those, plus whatever is lurking under something that I can't see or that I forgot that I started, you know, stuff like that. I really want to finish up a lot of that stuff so I can start May off with as clean a slate as I can possibly get. So finishing up lots of stuff this month. Okay, so where does that leave me at from now? So I'm still keeping up with my 2021 goals in general. Again, I don't remember what those were exactly, but those are keeping up. But I have 2 things I want to focus on for this next quarter. One of them is to lower the percentage of physical library books that I check out. I'm fine with ebooks. Again, it doesn't matter, and they go away in 3 weeks. You know, that's fine. And I know I have been doing or trying some of my physical copies, like my Book of the Month Club books that tend to be available through library ebook. I'm trying stuff that way. And then I know for my physical stuff, if I like it or if I don't, if I want to continue with it, wrong timing, whatever. But that's also helping me thin out my physical pile too. So just in general, I would like to not be running to the library so often for physical books. Clearly, I have plenty here to read. And unless I'm finishing up a series or something, or it's a brand new book that I really need to read, like all the frivolous checkouts and stuff. Like I just checked out a book called The Jake Ryan Complex. Now, I really want to read this because I love Jake Ryan. Any of you girls from like 80s babies or whatever, Jake Ryan was like it. I still like, he's up there. So I want to read this silly novel that's out new, Jake Ryan Complex, but I don't need to read this. I didn't have to check it out now. It could wait a year or 2 or 10. I would still want to read it because it's about Jake Ryan. Stuff like that. So I need to just cool it with the spontaneous requests. And the second thing I want to focus on is to finish going through my books for this channel. So last year I started filming, going through like my basement boxes of all TBR books, and I stopped in the M's. I have a lot of M's, really a lot of M's. So what I'd like to do is finish going through M's, the rest of the alphabet that's in the basement. And I also would like to go through some of my separate collections, for lack of a better word, that I have here on the first level of the house. So if you watched my very long mid-month book bash vlog last time, I showed just briefly the 2 bookcases I have in the corner of this room that I don't really I've never showed you guys really before. One of them is 3/4 Jane Austen books, and then Jane Austen spin-offs of her books about her, things like that. And 1/4 of that is the same thing, but for the Bronte sisters. So like I need to go through those again and really see, do I want to keep all of these or not, whatever. And then the other bookcase over there is much more of a mix of things. So there are childhood favorites, and then also children's books. That includes middle grade, if I have any middle grade or anything. I've got my Laura Ingalls Wilder books, because I love Laura Ingalls Wilder. I have never honestly read that whole entire series. I just reread my favorite books from the series when I was a kid. So that's a project I'd like to do at some point, but I also have lots of books about Laura and about Rose and blah. So I've got those over there. I've got my books about books over there. I have my travel literature. I have 3 publishing collections, essentially. One is British Crime Classics, excuse me. I have New York Review of Books, and I have Slightly Foxed publications. So I would like to get through all of those, plus some of my random nonfiction. I don't know if I would actually go through and film the stuff that I have for work. So things about different kinds of massage and energy, and about like the ethics of caring is a book I need to get back to, and you know, like trail guides for muscles and stuff. Like I don't know if anyone has an interest in that stuff, but I do want to focus on getting some of those kind of videos up and out for the rest of this year. So if I could finish that up, that would be wonderful. I'm going to try not to bulk them together too much, make sure it's like every other Tuesday or whatever, because I know not everyone likes to see those. So that's pretty much it. So I am very much on track for the end of the year, my end of the year total of 150. I'm a third of the way there right now. That's wonderful. If I can just rein in the library checkouts and keep working on the stuff that I have here, that would be really great. So how are you guys doing? Are you keeping track of your own stats for quarters or just a running total? Let me know what you think. If you would be interested in seeing massage stuff, I'm assuming no one really is, but you know, who knows? Yeah, I guess that's it. So hope you're all doing well and staying safe, taking good care, and reading something wonderful. And I will see you guys very soon. Bye.